Hello everyone and welcome to my home renovation. I am Christian and on today's project I'm going to redo my bar top. I found this slab with a live edge. The plan is to first recut the slab to its final dimension and cover it with a coat of epoxy. But before doing that, few things need to be done. The slab is curved and twisted, so I need to plan the slab. The problem is my planer is 21 inch wide and this slab is over 30 inch. So to be able to plan, I am going to have to use my router. But that is not the most challenging part about this project. I had a big problem when pouring the epoxy. Watch the video and see what happened. The first step is to cut the slab. Pretty easy in this situation. Attached to the wood, I'm using a L-shaped aluminium to guide my skill saw. Here we can see the curve of the slab. To be able to plan the slab with a router, I need to make a frame where I can slide a track for the router. So first I cut 4 pieces of plywood to the same height, attach it together on the slab. For the track I need a plywood a little bit longer than the frame. To prevent the plywood to bend down, I attach on the side 2 other plywood. In the center I will cut a groove to allow the bit of the router to go through. And I finish by adding on the both end another plywood to keep the track on the frame. Starting by the bottom side first, I lay the slab on a table and try to match all 4 corners of the slab with the frame. It took quite some time to get it right, as the slab was curved but also twisted. Planning with this method was a long process, but the quick jig I made worked pretty good for the amount of time I spent making it. One side down, I use a belt sander with the more coarse sandpaper I had to remove any mark left by the router. Now, because I have one side done, set up the slab for the other side was way more easier. On this side of the slab, the router was cutting only toward the edge, as the slab was curved in the center. And toward the end, only the bottom right, where the twist was. This side is the top side, so after using the belt sander, I'm using the rotating sander with a 80 grit sandpaper. To first remove any scratch left by the belt sander, and then I use 120 and 220 grade. I didn't feel necessary to go to a lower grade because it's going to be covered by epoxy. Just to give a little finish, I rounded the edge with my router. For the staining part, I'm using the pre-stain and the same brown stain I use for the rest of the kitchen. For this application, I'm just using an old t-shirt. This side would be the bottom side, so with a silicone, I'm filling all cracks to prevent any leak when pouring the epoxy. For the bigger crack, I will be covering with a piece of melamine. And to prevent any leak, I apply silicone around the cracks. When completed, I flip the slab and stain the other side. And I finish to seal the crack with another piece of melamine. So right away, when finished mixing the epoxy, I realized the mix was white and not clear. I was a little bit scared, but I decided to pour the epoxy anyway, with the hope this white will turn to clear. So I spread the epoxy all over the slab, including the edge on 3 sides. Then I started right away to apply heat all over the slab with my heat gun. The heat really helped removing air bubbles, and I believe also making the epoxy more clear. Unfortunately, air bubbles keep coming back, and the center of the slab where the epoxy was more deep, the foggy white never really disappeared. Well, it was a big disappointment. First, the slab is covered with a white, foggy layer. I have air bubbles everywhere. And where the big crack is, I have a difference in the thickness. So, big disappointment on this one. first tried to sand it to see if I could fix it, but it was clear I had to remove the epoxy and start all over again. After removing the layer of epoxy, I came back with a badass sander and sand the center part and remove any mark left by the router. And I finished sanding with a 2-pass with my rotating sander. After restanding the slab, it was time to pour the epoxy again. I tried to take more time to mix it, but at the end, the epoxy has still this white looking. After laying the product all over the slab, I came back with a hot gun. Because the big crack was already filled up, I had less bubbles, and I believe because the curve of the slab was less, with the second planning, the foggy look of the epoxy was also less. I realized too late, but I was supposed to put the epoxy in a pressure chamber to remove all the air bubbles. I do not have that, so I still have this foggy look on the finished product, but it still looks better than the first try. That's it for this video. This video is part of a series about restoring my kitchen. Here on the screen you can see all the video related to this project. My channel is about how I restore my 102 years old house. So if you did not do that already, press the subscribe button and do not forget to like the video as well. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.